Alright folks, so Focus just launched this, the new Focus Jam, in an alloy and carbon version. Now obviously the bike is sick, I mean look at it. However, I'm not going to focus on the bike too much today, more the marketing campaign that went with this bike to launch it. Many of you may have seen it, if not there's a link above, with Ollie Wilkins and Ben Deacon riding the bike, but most importantly releasing their inner child. So I've come back today to some of the locations where I grew up, where I first discovered riding, to sort of look around, reimagine some of the places and release some emotion. So before we get into riding, I'm going to check in with my mum, see what she remembers about this area, and then go for a little look around. All right.
Well, once you could ride a bike, you were always on a bike. And you used to ride up and down on the road when you were about 5 or 6 or 7. You once went on your friend's bike and said you didn't need your helmet, and you rode it into a dry stone wall, trip to A&E. Then we were quite near some woods. Yeah, you made some dirt jumps in there.
Yeah.
And then you used to go to a BMX track.
Spent a lot of time there.
And a few accidents on there as well. I remember you phoning me from an ambulance. And I think was there another one when you ended up in hospital? That's it. I mean, basically, you just rode around on your bike a lot. Ride across to your dad's and, yeah, down people to friends that lived on other side of Drumfield. I don't know what you got up to over there, on the other side of Drumfield.
Just riding bikes, same as that side of Drumfield.
Yeah. That's it, really, I'm afraid. That's all I remember.
That's perfect. We'll leave it at that, love. It's been amazing. I'll speak to you in a few years, though, yeah?
Yeah, maybe. If you're not too busy. Bye.
All right, so here we are in a little town called Dronfield, which is just outside the Peak District, about 15-20 minutes away from the town centre of Sheffield. And this is the road that I grew up on, Wilson Road. Probably can't tell you the exact house, but it's that one. And this is basically where I discovered biking. I got my first bike when I lived at this house. I was here from the ages of about 0 to 16, I think. My timeline's a little bit off, but around 0 to 16. So this is where I got my first bike, learnt to ride a bike around this sort of area. And after speaking to my mum the other day, she basically told me that all I used to do as a kid was ride laps around this block. From a young age, I was really into speedway, so I just wanted to go around in a circle as fast as I could. As you can see, there's not really much else to do on this road. I once cracked my head open on that wall over there. Other than that, it was a case of just going up and down, lots of wheelies from the bottom of this road all the way to the top. And like I said, lots of laps around this block. So I think for old time's sakes, gonna have to throw a quick lap in around the block. So let's do it. So after messing around on that road for many years, we discovered this place, the local woods. I'd come in here with some friends, build jumps, just do tons of runs down this little footpath basically, but don't tell anyone. And then in here, we built some dirt jumps. They were our very first dirt jumps that we built. And hopefully we're gonna try and find them because I think they're gonna be dead and buried by now, but let's go have a look, see if we can figure out where these dirt jumps were. And maybe they're rideable? Probably not. Go have a look. So this spot is kind of cool and kind of crazy because this is in our local woods. And it's this sort of area where we first started to learn about dirt jumping, me and a few friends. So we started digging here. We named this place Skeg, which if you know geography of the UK, Skeg, short for Skegness, is nowhere near where we are. But we figured if we told everyone we were going to Skeg, no one would figure out where these jumps were. And it did work because this place remained secret for until now, basically. I mean, no one's been down here for years. And it's really interesting to come back here and see that these dirt jumps are still here, even though they're really difficult to find. So like I say, it was around the age of about 14 to 16 that I started dirt jumping properly. And we started digging here. We made some massive rookie errors with this place though. I remember we spent all winter here one year, like every day. We were digging at night. I remember going and buying head torches and all sorts of stuff so we could keep digging at night. But what we didn't realize was the place flooded. So we did tons and tons of work and then we had loads of rain. It was a weird winter, I guess. We had like quite a sort of dry winter. We did loads of work, loads of digging, the place looked really cool. Then it rained and the whole place just flooded. It was like a river running through here. So despite all of this work, I think we rode here once, which is pretty normal, I guess, for certain dirt jump spots when you don't know how they're going to run. The dirt's also really, really slippery. It's like a clay. So with any moisture at all, they're barely rideable. And yeah, let's go and have a look through and see what else is down here. It's crazy, man, to be here. It's so cool. Again, it's kind of crazy being down here. We did so much work, as you can see. Some of these jumps, when you look at them even now, are actually kind of big. And we had no idea what we were building. We didn't know if it was going to work or not. Still to this day, don't even know if any of these jumps even worked because we only rode like the top 2 or 3. And this place just flooded. It was just like 4 or 5 feet deep in water. So a total waste of time. But as anyone out there knows, if you dirt jump or have dirt jumped in the past, the scene was pretty cool here. There wasn't many of us. We were down here all the time, digging, chilling, hanging out, having barbecues, sitting in wheelbarrows. And I think this spot is one of the most important for me because I discovered more about what mountain biking is, not just as a sport, but as a scene, as a culture, friendship groups. Yeah, this place is pretty rad. Do you think we can ride one of them? Old time's sake. Dude, I mean, look at the size of some of these jumps. We're 13, 14 years old on like 200-pound bikes. We had no business riding anything like this at all. It's probably a good thing that it flooded because someone was probably going to get pretty injured down here. But either way, still looks cool to this day. And if anyone wants to come and finish off the digging here, you're more than welcome. Crack on. All right, so that was my mum's side of Dronfield where she lived. Now, Dronfield is basically based in a bowl. There's a pretty big hill down to the bottom and then a pretty big hill out. So often I would commute to my dad's side of Dronfield. Like I said, they split up when I was pretty young. They moved to like opposite sides of the town. And there's a hill which goes all the way down into the bottom of Dronfield. And I remember being really young and always been super excited just to bomb down this hill. And what's super cool is we're now 25 years ahead and I'm still super excited to go and bomb down a hill. So let's go bomb a hill. So we are now over at the side of Dronfield where my dad used to live. My dad lived here for about 10 years. So some of my fondest memories as a kid are here in this location. My dad lived here in one of these flats, and around this little area I rode all kinds of different bikes. From being super young, bikes found in skips. We had half decent bikes, we had trials bikes, BMXs, scooters, anything with wheels I used to ride in this car park and down this street. The most sort of coolest thing about this area though was the community. The other side of Dronfield where my mum lived, there wasn't really many kids my age, so I used to spend a lot of time on my own. I remember moving here and seeing the amount of young people on this road was just mind-blowing. We spent most of the time riding bikes together, skateboarding, rollerblading, playing hockey. We're going to have a bit of a look around now because not only did I ride like here, but just on the road too. Built a speedway track. Again, I was obsessed with speedway, and I remember drafting in all these kids to ride speedway. We used to line them up, make programs out of crayons, all sorts of crazy stuff. So I'm looking forward to having a bit of a look round, try and reimagine a few spots, and keep the emotion flowing. Let's have a quick look.
I remember, dude, you used to just love your bikes, you know. I mean, you've always biked, haven't you? You moved to a bike before a pram, I think.
I think you're the only dad to ever find a bike in a skip and wrap it up for Christmas.
Well, it is Dronfield. People throw some nice things away around here.
So at one point I had a trials bike and I used to spend hours on this little piece of wall, learning to side hop off it, hop up it, look at all the damage. It's still like pretty ruined from me as a kid. And then I remember as I got progressively better on a trials bike, I'd work my way further down this wall as it sort of went up and got a little bit taller. But yeah, piece of wall at the end of the day. So much joy, so many bike skills just from this terrible bit of wall.
And I can remember also, I can remember that wall that was near Molly's house.
Yeah.
Molly and Pete's house, that you damaged old wall with your pedals of your bike. I think it's the only time that they ever sort of like had words with me. Like, you have to stop her doing it. Been a right mess around wall, you know.
This was the ultimate fly out. I think it's washed away a little bit over the years. It used to be a little bit steeper, but this was all dirt because I wore it all away from riding it up and down for years. So this patch of greenery was everything to me growing up. My dad lived just there. This patch here was, we called it the green, always full of young people, kids playing. We did football, cricket, you name it. It got played on here with all the kids on this street. And I guess it wasn't until I moved here that bikes became a bit of a thing. So these 3 trees here, this little circle became a speedway track, and we'd draft every kid off the street, no matter how old they were, would be part of a speedway meeting, and we'd have a full meeting and then we'd have a final. Look, I'll be honest with you, I won consistently. There was not really anyone anywhere near doing what I was doing, but it was super fun anyway. We'd have parents out watching. It was crazy. But yeah, this little patch of greenery was everything to me growing up. It was so, so cool.
I can remember you riding around that circle.
Yeah.
At the bottom of Burns Drive. You see, had it like a speedway track, like just flying around there. You used to love doing it because basically you could beat everybody else. So that's why you enjoy doing it so much. You know, like things like cricket and that you were no good at, you were crap, weren't you?
Yeah.
You didn't want to know that.
No.
You know, but bikes, nobody could touch you.
One thing I also just remembered is that after doing thousands, probably millions of laps around this little course, we then discovered that cycle speedway was an actual sport. And I ended up competing in the British Championships at quite a young age. So, training facility right here. So, embarrassingly, at about 12 years old, I tried to open the very first UK bike park. And it was here, in this massive location, that I thought it would be a good idea. So the premise was to build a jump here, which I did. I remember cutting all this back, building a takeoff, built a bit of a roller here in the middle, and then a berm corner right there. That was pretty much about as far as I got with the idea until the residents came in and were like, shut this shit down. But I was a pretty weird kid, and I remember drawing up all these plans on a piece of paper. I was going to put a gate at the top of this roll-in, so people had to pay to come in, hold some dual slalom races. I remember seeing dual slalom for the first time around this sort of age, and that was the plan, but unfortunately it got shut down, folks. Okay, so I guess our journey ends here, but with the most memories in one location, I think. This is, or was, my local BMX track. I remember coming here in the late 80s to watch BMX racing with my family. That's one memory. I actually learned to ride a motorcycle right here on this plot of land at a very, very young age, and then spent so many hours here from after school, weekends, but all the way through from being literally 0 age, all the way up to being around 18, 19, when the council decided to flatten the place and turn it into what it is now, which is a nature park / dog toilet. But honestly, it's so difficult to even explain how important this area was for me growing up. I spent so much time here learning to ride bikes, whether it's a motorcycle or a mountain bike or a BMX, digging jumps, again, similar to the place where we visited before. This was sort of like the original spot though, to be honest with you. It was only that this place became a little bit popular that we started to go further afield and try and find other places to ride. Yeah, so many memories here. It's almost hard to compute how much time I spent here. It must be in the tens of thousands of hours. Again, every day after school, every weekend. As I got a little bit older, I was off racing motocross a lot of the weekends, but I'd always be here in the during the week. And it's emotional again being here to see what it is now, which is basically nothing. It's just overgrown. It's such a shame that the council did this. It was such a hub for young people to hang out and enjoy being outdoors, ride bikes together. Nothing crazy ever went down here either. It was all quite nice and sophisticated as children get. But yeah, Dronfield BMX track. Rest in peace. Well, thank you for coming along on this little journey with me to check out some of the spots that I used to ride. Ones that have inspired me to keep riding bikes as well. I hope it inspires you to go out and do the same. Go check out some riding spots and release your inner child. That's it from me.